Greetings, fellow humans. Bad Mark here with another transmission from Metre Keyboards, and today we're taking a look at a new keyboard from Weikav. Weikav, I know I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. I've reviewed a number of their keyboards, and I'm gotta be honest, the Stars 80 is one that consistently comes back in rotation for me, but I also enjoy the Lucky 65 V2. They have delivered some very solid keyboards. This is a new one. As always, I've kind of tried to stay away from any information that might cloud my judgment. This is a pre-release, though I think by the time I get this out there, obviously I'll be releasing it after the embargo is over, but it is the NUT65 or the Acorn 65. I've heard it and seen it named both ways. I'm just going to call it the Acorn 65, but it is a 65% with a cool design, and I'm honestly looking forward to building it. This is a bare bone. I don't know if they're going to have a pre-built option. Weikav primarily seems to have bare bones, but sometimes they have choices for both. I know that the situation here is that this is a bare bone, so for right now, I believe this is a bare bone only. A lot of times people prefer, their choices switches, and there's so many switches out there. So, if you want a silent build, buying it bare bone kind of saves you that step of having to remove switches and perhaps keycaps you don't want to keep. So, I'm going to figure out what switches and keycaps we'll put on here, but go ahead and pull it out. Let's see what we've got. Take a look at the Weikav NUT65 or the Acorn 65. As always, I do like to take a look at what's included in the box before we actually take a look at the keyboard. And in this, we have a nice little card. Then we have a user manual or a quick start guide. Now this one does have both Chinese and English. It has the connection, shortcuts, lighting effects, and charging indicator. And I do believe that this is a VIA keyboard. I try to embargo myself so I don't get any preconceived notions, and I like to just get, this is my first reaction, to be as close as to what, if you guys were to buy the keyboard, what you would get from, looking at it. Obviously, if you're going to buy a keyboard, you're probably going to take more look at it beforehand, and that's what I hope to do, is provide as much information so that people can make a decision on whether this is the product for them or not. We also have your standard wire switch and keycap puller. We have a black rubberized USB-A to USB-C cable, and it looks like we have some extra tan pulls. I would guess that's going to be for the gasket mounting. I do believe this is quick release, but again, I'm not sure. I try to keep myself free of any preconceived ideas. And here we are with the Weikav NUT65 or Acorn 65. It looks like it has some RGB there. When I first pulled it out, I was like, wait a minute, is this an HE keyboard? And I completely missed. But it is not. As we can see, the holes just have not been punched out yet for the IXPE. If the PET below, which it does seem to have, was not punched out, I would suggest going through and punching out all the holes, but because it's just the IXPE foam, which is extremely soft, I don't think you'll have any problem with the switches. And it looks like they've included just a few switches. That's probably just to keep the plate and the PCB assembly together. But taking a look at it, we have some nice clean lines. We have a really nice profile there. A wedge design with a little bit of... Now I gotta say, the bottom is really nice. I like this layout. I like that it has the nut on there. So I guess NUT65 is really, but it does look like an Acorn to me. And this is the door for the 2.4. I have really been enjoying this design. Too many aluminum keyboards either did not have a pocket or had a very awkward pocket for the 2.4 dongles. But this one, it actually has, a lot of them are now they're coming branded, which is very good, but it usually just has the name of the company. This one actually has the actual model, so you're going to know right away what keyboard this goes to. And of course, that's an aluminum piece. It's got the little screws right there so that it can remain magnetic. This does not appear to come off. That's just part of the design. And then we have some protective right there for that nice weight at the bottom. Of course, we have our rubberized feet. And, if I'm not mistaken, yep, we have a quick latch system. So we can take a quick look on the inside here. Now, it does look like it comes with regular strip gaskets, but if we wanted to, we could replace those with the tadpoles. And, oh, it's also a pogo pin, so we don't even have to worry about a JST cable. This is very nice, I've got to say. Let me see. I want to see if we have any alternate layouts. It does not appear like we do. Nope, this looks like a standard 65% ANSI layout. It does look like we have individual flex cuts for the middle rows. There's the MCU. And here we have the foam. All right, so I do believe this is, oh yeah, so obviously this is a wireless keyboard. So let's go ahead and put it back together. So this is going to offer more of a, oh, look at me, put that upside down. So with the gasket strips that we have here, I mean, with the, we have actually, I forget what these are called. I like to call them socks. Perhaps they're called something else. These are socks that go on to the PCB. We do not have plateless here. I mean, or we cannot go plateless because it does not have screw-in PCB support. So that's just basically going to give us a different type of feel. I'm going to guess, I will come back to this at some point and do matching sound tests, but these are probably going to be a little bit stiffer, whereas the tadpoles, because you can choose, like say, only to put them in the corners, put them, all of them in, it's probably going to have a little bit more of a bounce. I don't think it'll make too much of a difference in the sound profile. It's going to be more of a difference in feel, and I'm going to say that the usually the tadpoles offer a little bit more flex, but I love that this has become almost a standard with aluminum keyboards, because you don't have to worry about stripping any screws or messing anything up, and getting in there and changing something like taking out the foam is a quick and easy process. Well, let's go ahead and see what this looks like with the lights on, since we have a nice little switch right there. I know some folks are like, switch to the keycaps, but honestly, to me, it's not a big deal. I know some people are like, but again, I always either have a few of these in my laptop bag, and I have obviously plenty here at home. I won't show you my collection. I literally have a whole collection of them. If you're going to go wireless, most of the time you're going to leave it on. Obviously, it goes to sleep. We're not paired to anything as of yet, but a lot of times you can just leave it on because it's going to go to sleep if you're not using it. So if you primarily use it wireless, then that's probably going to be just take off the tab, turn it on, and get to work. So today I decided to go ahead and use some HMX Poro switches. A friend of mine asked me if I had tried these, and yes, a lot of linears are going to be similar, but when you have different materials, different travel distances, I believe this one's a 3.4, 3.5 travel, so it's got like a 0.5 millimeter before the full travel of 4. If you guys don't know, 4 millimeter is a full travel or not a long pole switch, but when you have anything less than 4 millimeters, you're going to have a long pole switch, which is usually going to have more of a tappy, clacky, ticky kind of sound profile. Obviously, the keyboard is going to decide the final sound. If you want more of a high-pitched, taking out the foams will usually get you that. You want more of a deeper pitch, leaving the foams in and using thicker keycaps will do the difference. Now this probably will make for a nice tappy, kind of like tap dancing on marble type of sound, but we'll have to see. But this is a Yeah, HMX Poro, and they have become quite popular. They're very affordable linear switches. I can't remember what I paid for these, but I want to say either 15 or 18 cents a piece. They're actually interesting looking. They're definitely not some, I mean, obviously, there's some switches you look at and it's like, is that, or that? Because there's a lot of copied colorways, or at least similar enough to where you're like, is that this? But with these, I'm definitely not gonna, I mean, it's almost like a, makes me think of like a latte with like a strawberry on top. I don't know. That's just me. I'm going to go ahead and load these up on the NUT65, and then we'll go ahead and decide what keycaps we're going to go with. But as always, you want to make sure that your pins are nice and straight. Now, because this is the first time we're installing, it's a recommendation. I mean, obviously, if you've been doing this for a while, I think you're going to already have that feel. But because this is so easy to take out of the case, I would suggest for the first installation of switches that you take it out so that you can support the hot swap socket on the back when you're inserting the switches. This way you can ensure that you're going to get a nice clean connection that's going to punch through the IXPE, but it's not going to pop off the hot swap socket. I'm going to go ahead and load up some of these on the corners and in the middle before I start taking out the switches that they included. Obviously, we want to make sure that the switch clips onto the plate. We do have flex cut FR4 plate here, so between the flex cut on the PCB and the flex cut, although the flex cuts aren't that deep, I've seen much flexier plates, so we don't have to worry about that on here. Got a few more switches in here. If you have your finger at the right place, you can actually feel the switch pins going through, and if you look real close, you'll be able to see the clips inside of there. Well, these appear to be new hot swap sockets. I've never seen this brand, QMSEN, or it could be a no, but I'm pretty sure it's a QMSEN. And for the first few switches, you may have to pull up the plate a little bit to meet the switch. But once we have enough in here, all right, we can go ahead and remove, not even sure what these are. Oh, they appear to be some KTT switches, but we can go ahead and take these out. All right, so we got all of those out of there. I wanted to see real quick, these stabilizers that they have, the plate mounted, they look to be the palm ones. They are lubed on the inside and on the corners as well, and they are quite well attached. All right, let me throw these to the side. My pile of spare switches. Let's go ahead and load up the rest of these switches, and then we'll figure out some keycaps so that we can get to the sound test, because I know that's what everybody's always looking for. That's what always gets the most view, or the section of the video that gets the most views, as well as like repeat views, because it's like, I mean, obviously we want good performing keyboards, but a lot of us also want to know that it sounds and feels nice. Personally, I like to go around the edges first and then fill in the middle. It just gives it support, so it makes them easier to install. Again, it's not always necessary to support the backs, but since it's an easy open, it just makes sense. Plus, you don't even have to worry about a JST cable, so there's really nothing to disconnect. It's only going to take a few seconds to open it up and get it in your hand so that you can protect the hot swap sockets. Make sure they don't pop off. All right, now that we got the edges, we can go ahead and just work in the rows. And here we are with the switches all loaded up, and that pink gives me an idea for the keycap set I think I want to use. All right, let's go ahead and reassemble this. I gotta say, I so appreciate quick release. Just all keyboards should be like that, even plastic ones. I don't know how well they could do it with plastic, but I gotta believe it could be done. Now, another thing here, one thing I guess I completely forgot to take a look at, we actually have lights right there. Pretty sure we can control this. We'll have to take a look, but that is just a very neat design. I Don't get me wrong, I'm fine with a keyboard without RGB, but, and not that I'm RGB crazy, though I do use an RGB all-in-one cooler. I don't have RGB RAM, but usually the case or the fan that I get usually will have RGB as well. I usually just set it to one color, either red, blue, or white, depending on the color of the case. Now, I've had this keycap set, I don't even know how long. I purchased these a while ago, and they accidentally got put into storage, and I didn't even load them up on anything. And I do believe that they are PBT, but let me just see for sure. All right, so these are PBT, and the colorway for these are dark Olivia. They're basically black keycaps, but we have the pink highlight, so I thought that'd be perfect. I mean, I don't always match colors, but I do like when the colors can at least have some sort of theme throughout. So here we have the black to match the case, and we have the pink to match the switch. So I think that's a pretty good combination. So let's go ahead and load these keycaps up and see what this keyboard sounds like. And here we are with the NUT65 fully built. We have the HMX Poro linear switches, and we have the Doubleshot PBT Gliging Olivia, dark Olivia keycap set. I have to say, I mean, the way this keyboard sounds, the features of it, it's top notch. I mean, I love my Lucky 65 V2, and it's honestly, a lot of people have asked me, well, what should I choose between the Lucky and say like a Neo 65? Don't get me wrong, I like my Neo 65, but it is a little bit pricier, though you do have options as far as plate and colors, although this one comes in several colors as well. And Weikav, normally, I don't know if for this one, but I'm going to assume, as they have for past keyboards, they will either sell and or share the plate files so that you can have your own plates made. Third-party companies will have plates made. I know for the Lucky 65, you can buy plates in almost all the materials on AliExpress. I think some of them are actually now available on Amazon, if I'm not mistaken. But even just a couple of years ago, I can't stress enough, especially for anybody just coming into the hobby, a keyboard that was even close to this, and no quick release, because quick release really only just came out in the last year and a half or so. I mean, as a more in-stock option. But a couple of years ago, you'd be looking at $250 to $300 for this keyboard. The MSRP for this one is $79.95, bare bone. But the feature of this keyboard and the way that it sounds stock, I mean, these are some nice switches, but I'm confident that with practically any switch you choose, it's going to sound very nice. I mean, obviously silent switches, you're not going to hear much, but just to give you guys a quick preview of what it sounds like. Very even, uniform sound across the rows. Very nice stabilizer. This is a beaut. I cannot stress how much I usually like other colors, but this with the black and the pink, it just chef's kiss. I gotta say, I really like this. Let's go ahead and plug it in and see. Well, we already saw the lights, but that is just lovely. I believe function, yep, I can cycle through the light effects. All right, so FN enter will get us through colors. Oh, and there we go, we got a pink. Actually, I think that's a white. But I like it. I like how that looks. And then we can do function backspace. We'll change the light bar colors. Oh, and that's a pink. That's a purple. Let's see what else we got. We got the white. Let's just keep it at that. That is just, it's a sharp looking keyboard. It sounds lovely. Oh, I guess that's a charging light. I noticed that one was red. I'm gonna guess that's a charging indicator, but what you get for the price nowadays is just, I don't know, I guess I kind of jumped in just at the right time around, the pandemic, and started getting into keyboards. These were just too expensive. When I first started reviewing, I had to buy every single one. Weikav, they have provided this for me, but of course, as always, my opinions are my own. They're very good in the fact that I can be honest about their keyboards, and if I find any issue, I let them know, and they're very responsive. The Lucky65 is a great keyboard, but this is a step up, and this one, I mean, the Lucky65 V2, I think, can be had for just about $10 less than this one. So it's like, that one's nice, and that one also, I believe, is quick release, if I'm not mistaken. But don't quote me on it. I go through so many keyboards, sometimes they get switched around in my head. Now, this is a VIA compatible keyboard. I will put a link down below to the JSON file, as you have to load it in the design tab so that it can come up. So no matter what operating system you have, as long as you have a Chrome web browser, you're going to be able to do any remapping here. I went ahead and just laid it out the way that it's originally, or the way that it comes. I will be changing this out. I prefer delete up there and then a different layout here. But for right now, that is fine. All right, yeah, I think the red just gives it more of a evil keyboard vibe. This is just, it's lovely. This is definitely going to go in my rotation. I gotta say, for the price, I can't stress enough, if you're just getting into the hobby, you're literally at the golden age right now, because what is available, your money, your dollar goes much further into keyboards today than they used to, and they're actually much better. I personally, I know there's a lot of folks out there that like to take out all the foams and like the sound that it makes, it believe it's a little bit more clackier. I prefer the sound with the IXPE and the PE foam, or the hi-fi layers, as well as the way that it just sounds with the foam, like I believe it's Poron, but don't quote me on that, between the plate and the PCB, and a little bit of foam below the PCB. I like that sound profile. Some do want to take all that out and like that. It's not a hollow sound, but it's more of a higher pitched clanky sound, which I get the appreciation for it. But this, to me, I like Thocky, but I also like this. And like I said, this is it's a clack, but it's a tappy mosaic marble tap dance clack. Not really clacky. I don't know if that, somewhere between Thocky and clacky. It's, I guess we got to come up with a new word for this sound, but it is just, I mean, I remember that even even the more expensive keyboards you would get, and you'd still, want to apply some mods to it, whether it was just a Tempest tape or add some foam or whatever, just to get to a better sound profile. Not that they didn't sound good, but with a little bit of tweaking, they sounded much better. Nowadays, it's almost like I have to look up keyboards that I've had for a couple of years to actually mod. And I know I haven't done a mod video in a while, and I have a long list of videos I have to do. For the price, $79.95, that's the MSRP. You may be able to find it cheaper. It may be a little bit more expensive at some of the, I know there's some retailers that are going to be carrying this as well. It's a lovely keyboard that has all the functionality that I need, because VIA allows me to program my keyboard under Linux. I don't have to worry about turning on my Windows laptop and having to deal with all of that. No third-party software. I don't know if it is a QMK-based keyboard. I have reached out to them and asked. When I come back to it and try with the tadpoles, I'll see if there is, and if there is, we'll take a look at that as well. And maybe we'll do also a sound test with some different switches, as well as taking out the phones or taking out some of them and making a combination. Because this being a quick release, it's going to be much quicker to do a lot of the stuff. especially if we don't mess with the plate PCB assembly. For $79.95, you get an aluminum keyboard, quick latch. It is Bluetooth as well as 2.4, and it has the pocket. Yes, it does have a switch here, and you do have to do, if you're going to go wired, you have to do the function T. I believe it's for the wired. All of the shortcuts are listed out here, and obviously they can be changed in VIA. But I've got to say, for the price and for the amount of colors that are available, I want to say it's like 7, maybe 8 colors that they have, including pink, purple, if I'm not mistaken. It is just a phenomenal keyboard. The folks at Weikav have always been very responsive, either through email or through Discord. I think Discord is probably the best way to get a hold of them. I fully recommend this keyboard. Like I said, I'm kind of partial to them lately. The Lucky 65, although this one's probably going to be taking its place, though I like the red on the Lucky 65. And the Stars 80 have become, have featured very prominently in my daily rotation. TKL is my favorite layout, though 65% I can work with just fine, especially if I'm coding, because I don't really need the function keys. I mean, obviously the function keys are always there, but when I just want to just get to code, 65% is quite perfect for me. Anyway, I'm going to leave you guys with a sound test of this Acorn 65 or NUT65, loaded up with the HMX Poro stock and these Doubleshot and Gliging dark Olivia keycap set. I do hope that you enjoyed my build and my quick review and the sound test. If you have any questions, any comments, any suggestions for when I come back to it, please leave them down in the comment section below. I do my best to respond as quickly as possible. For now, I want to wish everyone out there a wonderful rest of your day. Until the next transmission, keep calm and keyboard on.